And there's a system in place. The system needs to be fixed. But 64 is the introduction of an extreme amount of legislation and bureaucracy that gets in between a plant and a patient.
Yeah, I don't know what
There's
needs
a
to be.
plant and a patient.
At the delivery side,
What do we really need
for
in the
20
middle?
some odd years, people have not had any problem getting this plant from the farm to the dispensary to the patient. Has not been a problem. Therefore, why do you have to, quote, regulate or set guidelines that I need now a license for this, I need to do this, we need to... Whoa, 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 whoa. That's where that has to settle down a little bit. If you want to have guidelines or rules, one, make them workable, but two, find a need for them. We don't have a problem getting this from point A to point B.
Right.
And then also,
Patients
too...
that need it can get it. We're getting it done.
Also, too, now she brings this to us without a charge. Therefore, quote, she's our caregiver.
I'm a provider.
Your caregiver provider.
Okay.
But her problem is she's only allowed five patients. Tell me why she should only have 5 patients.
Yeah, it's just random.
Well, didn't Jesus feed 5,000 people?
If I have the ability
It's just
to grow,
arbitrary.
if I have
Right,
the ability to grow an extra 5 pounds
You
of pot
understand
and I
why-
want to
what
give
the
it away,
hell
I
are
should be
you-
able to do
why?
that.
It is extremely arbitrary.
Well, it's
Totally
oh, it is.
It just,
Yeah.
and that's where people who hear the thing, well, are you for the legislation of cannabis? Yeah, okay, but they don't look at it, well, at what cost is it going to be?
Well, it's not. The legalization of cannabis is to say that it's illegal now. And last time I checked, it wasn't illegal.
No, it wasn't, no.
So why do we have to trick voters into thinking that they're going to legalize cannabis? Cannabis is already legal. What they're voting for is bureaucracy of cannabis.
And more government control, obviously,
Yeah.
that got bureaucracy.
Legislation.
Yeah.
Remember what I said to you yesterday?
Corporate, our hands a lot of it to corporate interest as opposed to giving it to the patients, which is the whole reason the Compassion Use Act was written to
Okay.
begin with.
So like, yeah, what is it about dispensaries? Does it remove dispensaries?
Okay, from what I understand, the dispensaries is a non-for-profit model, and that's the thing with the WeMap getting into it is they want to sell stock and do the corporation model and go for profit, and so that's one of the things I understand that that one of the needs to take out 215 is to create the corporatization.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing is we've also seen some of those groups moving certain points of legislation through local municipalities, or I've seen it personally, where what they've done is they've modeled what shops stay open, who stays open, how they stay open, what kind of business, hours of operation, from everything from that. But they've done it into those local areas to move some of the other ones, some of the
In
other
the 50
providers
years
out.
that I've been involved in politics, I have never seen legislation that mentions anything about labor negotiations. Something has to be union, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. In this legislation, there is such definition and such words as how management and labor, what their relationship should be, and like, I have, as I say, I'll be 72. I've never in 50 years seen legislation that has anything to do with labor negotiations. But they got it in. And thank you to the labor people over in the Dan Rushes of the world.
They do.
Huh?
What's his name? Assemblyman Rob Buntiff with the MRSA and AB 1575. He told me that the Teamsters are the one that put in the distribution model for the Prop 64 part.
See, when you get unions involved in, in what this is, you're really going down a different road. That's just too much. One thing that you have the government involved, but then you're putting and I'm a union person, I believe in unions, but I do not see a purpose of these things, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. No, in my dispensaries, there was no need for a union, and when we were at your dispensary, there was no union. There was you and I. That was it. That was our management.
Well, that doesn't mean that we don't need some of that type of organization
But it's written into it, is the problem.
Yeah, it's written in. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's written into it.
Yeah.
It's not implied. It's written into
The
it.
state is preparing a union.
Yeah.
I want to set a few pieces aside for him, okay?
We'll sit that. Yeah, we'll make sure he gets that.
You know, I tried to get into media. I tried to ask for what's the interview with the media people with the LAPD. I wanted to ask them basically, not like are they for or against pop systems, another kind of basic ass question.
Right.
I wanted to ask them. I realized, okay, the people that it matters to the most won't read it. Okay, and so then you at some point you got some asshole cop that's just itching to burn people, you know, and so I figure that the police aren't reading it because you got all these laws that are getting passed constantly. So what I wanted to interview the LAPD was to see how they're going to implement it. Which stuff are they going to pay attention to? Which stuff are they not paying attention to? You know, we're going to look for this, and this.
I'd like to find out how much they know about what it's written anyway. You know, let's just start with that. You know what I mean? How much of this do you understand?
Very little.
Just like your point
But
says.
we already know that they're not going to come up with
Who is going to
real
train our
material on
police
that.
force to profile marijuana users? On what criteria are they going to make stops, and what criteria do they need to get involved in the daily life of a cannabis user?
Once again, I think that's where they're going to start extorting more money from the people, because then they're going to issue DUIs, they're going to issue citations for use, they're going to test and then prosecute someone when we all have different tolerances.
And just because you have THC in your system, that does not mean you are impaired.
Exactly.
Show me how you are impaired.
Exactly.
You know, because one of the things that throughout, I was up about 5:30 this morning. I think my first hit was about 5:35. Okay, and so the point that I have to do. People ask me, or how much I smoke during the day. I don't know, but I have to be functional. You follow what I mean?
Yeah.
I, like now or whatever, I have to be functional. So whatever I use during the day to take care of whatever I have, I've got to be functional. But
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
measure it out.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that's not necessary.
Well,
Huh?
because he split it's
Yeah,
what happened?
it was all good, you know that. It was all good.
I mean, how much more do they want to come in and take from the patients through using executive action, which is exactly what they're doing, from taxation to, you know, we're looking right now testing. I mean, the next step, in my opinion, they're going to go after us later with mandatory minimums of what THC. They'll come after us with genetically modified cannabis. I mean, they're just opening the door up right now for all of that.
We wrote it to protect patients from the government, because that was the biggest threat to our health.
Okay.
They were axing our doors down, coming and approaching us with guns to the head, handcuffing us, arresting us, prosecuting us, because, you know, we had a few plants, had a few grams of pot, pounds of pot, whatever. You know, and that was their big criticism of 215. God, it stops that. We can't do that to anybody anymore. Jesus. And our contention was, well, everyone you did it to was basically a medical user that just didn't know it up till now. And now we've got that out of the way. We don't have to do that anymore. And we should be civilized now. So our whole thing was a firewall. It was a protective system against the government to protect patients, okay, from cops, okay, and the authorities. And now you've got this thing that basically it's a control system. It's a regulatory control system that's designed to set up lines in the sand that we have to stay within. If we have 2 ounces of pot, we're like committing a crime now.
And that
If we have,
then we're not.
under 215, you're not. There's no
Got it,
controls like
got
that.
it,
There's no
okay.
saying you can only have so many plants. There's no saying you can only have so many ounces. There's no saying where you can and cannot have it. It basically says you're innocent. It's okay. It's just pot. Get over it. And it protects you.
You see the mentality?
This has a whole concept of it's just pot, but you can only use it here. You can't smoke it in public. You've got to, you don't get all these hoops you have to jump through. I mean, they've already told you all the hoops. I'm not going to.
So 215 doesn't have those stipulations?
No, it's a half a page long, and it's there to protect patients. You want to see it?
No, you kept it simple because that was see. It was written for the perspective of the patient. Look at this, for the government
right.
and
You
in
ever seen
business.
215?
What the
I'll
hell, you
go
follow
get you a
what I mean?
copy. I'll go get you a copy of
Exactly.
215. I'll show you the same.
We were
thing.
sick and dying
Everything that
people.
we passed
Exactly.
to protect people.
See,
This
they
is
didn't
designed
see
to
people come
criminalize
into
them.
our
fucking
dispensary
real.
with chaos and things like that, and in 6 months be dead.
And not to
How
mention
many
the
more
fact
people are we
we
supposed
don't
to bury?
appreciate the trivialization of pot. It's the contention here that they found
There
somebody
is
that
not
can't get marijuana
one
in California.
One word of compassion.
that should. I mean, maybe there's somebody that can't get it under the status quo, but I'll question if that person should get it, okay? Because you've got to be
Okay.
really fucking healthy not to get pot in California.
Yeah.
You really do. I mean, you've just got to be. You've got to be kidding me. I mean, for fucking 20 years they've complained that pot is too available in California, and now they're saying, some people can't get pot in California. We're very concerned about that. Give a fucking break, man. I mean, give me a break. Stop it. Stop it. Show me who this is going to help. Show me the poor bastard that can't get pot today, that is suffering because of that I have to change the fucking state law and pass this shit, and throw my fucking law out the window. Show me the guy at least. Give me that guy. Put him on fucking television and let me talk to him. And I could probably help him short of this method.
And
Right.
all right.
To go through the established steps.
Enough screaming at you. Let me go get your things.
And one
You can
thing,
look at it,
also
but I think
too,
I got my-
about what about the children or what about the students?
Yeah.
Let's look at the obvious. Any high school students right now, age 18 and under, have always grown up with medical cannabis dispensaries. Why? Because in 1996 there were medical cannabis dispensaries. 18 and under, you were born 1998. Do you follow what I'm saying?
okay.
It's not, oh my God, look, in our lifetime, we have a dispensary now. They've grown up with it at the neighborhood. They've grown up with it at that perspective. Do you follow on that perspective?
Okay. And those go away?
No, but the point of it is, it's not something that we have to adjust our kids to. Hell, it's already been there. Just like they grew up in the sun's there. Yeah, it is. They take it for normal, but you follow what I mean? They take that for normal. It's always been there, dispensaries. They're 18.
I see what you mean.
That's what I'm saying. We started this in 1996. 215 was passed. 18 years, 1998, you're 18 years now. So any high school student under the age of 18 and under have always, here in San Francisco, they've always been dispensaries. There've always been dispensaries. There've always been dispensaries. There's always, it's not, gee, this was just introduced to me 3 years ago, and now my family and I have to adjust to it. It's always been here. And you see what he says about the perspective, we were writing that as patients because we're patients. This shit's written by lawyers.
Let me show you what we wrote as patients, okay? 'Cause this really
Okay, and then the context too, while I'm reading this, is that this receive this
Yes, it will.
and make this null.
The only way to erase this is this. That's the beauty of an initiative. And if you want to change this, do it again. And that's really just good luck.
You want to explain how we get rid of MRSA?
No, you don't. You live with it. You knock down the parts you don't like in court, because if they violate this, they can be knocked down in court, and some of them do and will. And some of it you celebrate. If it expands on this, go for it.
So
At least it's in the spirit of 215. It was written as a medical measure, and so you got to treat it as a offer of the state legislature and take the good with the, they have they could do more. If I were them, I would pass a finding in the state legislature tomorrow that says all use is medical in California. We don't recognize non-medical use. We don't believe in it. And that would make everything so much more simple. You wouldn't have to ask for doctor's notes, and that wouldn't violate 215. It would expand on it.
How does this particular measure differ from the one that failed, the most recent one?
It's
19?
longer and more complex, more
Yeah.
fucked up in some
19.
ways.
Really?
Yeah.
And in some ways, is it at all any better?
It's a lot longer. Yeah, I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't know anybody who's actually read all 64 pages of it, including myself. Can't do it. Can you? Have you done it?
No.
You can't even?
No.
Nobody can read it. 19, at least you could wade through it and find a lot of fucked up shit in the 5 pages there, or 4 pages, or whatever it was.
Okay.
Yeah, sort of thing. But this is just ridiculous. This is just a nightmare. I'd hate to live under it.